Were you conscious that when you enter your 80s, your muscular tissue has potentially already reduced by half from your earlier years? Sarcopenia is a destructive ailment that deprives independence from countless people around the world. This disorder affects more than 50 million elderly people. Accidents from muscle frailty transport over 300,000 older adults to medical facilities every year. Here comes the remarkable aspect. Research published in the Journal of Physiology challenges the assumption that such drastic muscle decline is inevitable. Some people in their 70s retain the stamina, skills, and even physical form of individuals who are decades younger, while most of their contemporaries have trouble executing basic tasks like standing up from a chair or ascending stairs. These remarkable people succeed in preserving full independence well into their 90s, and they consistently exceed the performance of others half their age in strength tests. They also maintain their ability to climb mountains and participate in athletic activities. Please like and follow for more educational health information like this if you found it helpful. So what is their secret method? Well, 93% of elderly individuals are unaware of which techniques can significantly delay or even reverse muscle loss associated with aging, but scientists at the Mayo Clinic have identified them. Many doctors fail to inform their elderly patients about the most important practice that can help them rebuild lost muscle mass well into their 70s and 80s. According to researchers at Harvard Medical School, what studies have proven necessary for maintaining strength as we get older actually contradicts many physicians' advice. Keep reading because the first technique is probably something you do wrong regularly. This common error is speeding up the muscle wasting process by triggering genes that would normally stay inactive. Correcting this single habit could be the difference between enjoying your golden years independently or needing assistance from others. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this before we start. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Okay, let's get started right away. The seventh technique is hormetic stress. One of the most unexpected things that healthy 80-year-olds do is subject themselves to hormetic stressors, which are particular kinds of stress. Hormesis is the concept where substances that would be toxic at higher doses offer beneficial effects when encountered at lower levels. What doesn't kill you truly makes you stronger, especially when it comes to muscle. According to research conducted by the Buck Institute for Research in Aging, brief exposures to certain stresses trigger cellular protection systems that allow the preservation and even enhancement of muscle function and growth in people well into their 80s. Temperature variation is the main hormetic stressor employed by superagers, activating brown fat, boosting mitochondrial creation, and releasing adiponectin, a hormone that guards muscle tissue from breakdown. Quick cold exposure, such as ending showers with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water or brief cold immersions, is beneficial. Saunas and hot tubs work in a similar manner, triggering heat shock proteins that shield muscle cells from harm and repair them. 10 years of sauna use was linked with 40% less muscle decline than non-sauna users. According to a Finnish study, regular sauna use was defined as 4 to 7 times weekly. Intermittent fasting or eating within restricted time periods is the second hormetic stressor. To improve muscle quality and encourage autophagy, the cellular cleaning process, superagers limit their food consumption to a narrow window of 8 to 10 hours each day without causing weight loss. This strategy enhances mitochondrial function in muscles by up to 10% in just 12 weeks. According to research from the Salk Institute, muscle contractions, though brief and intense, represent the third hormetic stressor. Overcoming isometrics, where superagers repeatedly push or pull immovable objects to their limit for 5 to 10 seconds at maximum intensity, is a common exercise form. These short but powerful contractions tell muscle cells to stay large and active without placing too much stress on the joints. The intermittent quality of these stresses is what makes them effective. They must be brief and followed by adequate recovery time. When properly applied, these controlled stresses activate longevity genes, including FOXO and sirtuins, which mainly function to preserve muscle mass as we age. Try to introduce these habits slowly until you build tolerance. You don't want to shock your system. Gentle, beneficial stress is what you're aiming for. Protein timing strategy is the sixth technique. While the quantity of protein consumed is a major concern for seniors, research suggests that the timing of protein intake may be even more important. Scientists describe the gradual decline in protein utilization that occurs with age as anabolic resistance. Research in the Journal of Nutrition showed that contrary to popular belief, seniors should not eat all of their protein at once, but rather spread it throughout the day. Now, we come to the critical part. A window of opportunity for protein synthesis opens in your muscles approximately 3 to 4 hours after each meal. Most seniors make the mistake of getting all their protein at dinner, which means they aren't getting enough protein throughout the day to build muscle. The best approach to use: distribute your meals throughout the day and try to get 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each one. So instead of having cereal or toast for breakfast, try eating eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie. Lean meats, fish, dairy, or vegetarian protein sources like lentils and beans should continue this pattern during lunch and dinner. When compared to eating the same amount of protein concentrated in fewer meals, this timing approach alone can increase muscle protein synthesis by up to 25%. In a 12-week study conducted by the University of Texas, people who followed this approach managed to gain an average of 1.2 pounds of muscle without changing any other part of their lifestyle. If you want your muscles to get stronger or prevent wasting away, it's not enough to just eat protein. When you eat, it also matters. Number 5 habit: vitamin D level optimization. Did you know that the so-called muscle vitamin is lacking in more than 80% of the elderly population? The silent destroyer of strength, vitamin D deficiency, is common among seniors. Let me clarify. Supporting your bones isn't the only job of vitamin D. Researchers at Harvard University found that vitamin D activates the genes that are involved in building and synthesizing muscle. To develop and maintain muscle mass, your cells contain vitamin D receptors that, when activated, start processes. Remarkably, a groundbreaking study in JAMA Internal Medicine showed that elderly people whose vitamin D levels were optimal had 25% greater muscle strength than those whose levels were insufficient. Additionally, they showed significantly improved reaction time, coordination, and balance, all of which play an important role in preventing falls. Vitamin D deficiency is defined as levels below 20 nanograms per milliliter, while superagers who seem to age without aging almost always have optimal levels above 40 nanograms per milliliter. Which vitamin D supplementation methods work best? While sun exposure is helpful, it becomes less effective as we age. This is because our skin's vitamin D production decreases by 50% from 20 to 65 years of age when exposed to sunlight. The standard daily requirement of 600 international units is quite insufficient, but supplementation is needed for most seniors. While this should be individualized based on blood testing, research shows that most seniors need 2,000 to 4,000 international units per day to reach appropriate levels. Include vitamin D-rich foods such as fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified dairy with this, and try to get 15 to 20 minutes of direct midday sun exposure if possible. A word of warning: insufficient levels of vitamin K2, which is found in fermented foods and certain animal products, prevent calcium from going to the arteries and instead encourage its use by the bones thanks to the synergistic effect of vitamin D. Arteries may become calcified if vitamin D supplementation is done at high doses. This overlooked yet critical vitamin-nutrient interaction may be the deciding factor in your success. To find out how much vitamin D your body needs, ask your doctor for a blood test. Then, to prevent your muscles from wasting away, try to keep your levels above 40 milligrams per milliliter. Rule number 4: manage inflammation daily. So what do exceptionally strong elderly people have in common? Interestingly, the inflammation levels are quite low across the board. Researchers have recently determined that inflammaging, a term for chronic low-grade inflammation, is a key factor in the loss of muscle mass in the elderly. Muscle protein is broken down at a rate faster than the body's ability to replace it due to this silent inflammatory process. But that's not all. Inflammation blocks the anabolic signals that normally encourage muscle growth in response to exercise and protein intake, regardless of their protein consumption or exercise routines. Seniors whose inflammatory markers were the highest lost muscle mass 3 times more quickly than those whose levels were the lowest, according to a landmark study out of Tufts University. Certain anti-inflammatory approaches are used by superagers who maintain their youthful strength, which most seniors fail to recognize. Their first priority is getting a good night's sleep, which they achieve by going to bed at the same time every night and sleeping in a completely dark room. Lack of sleep can speed up muscle atrophy by increasing inflammatory cytokines by up to 40%. And second, they pay close attention to the condition of their digestive system. Changes to gut flora associated with aging are a direct cause of systemic inflammation. According to recent studies out of the University of California, the diets of superagers include a variety of plant foods 30 plus per week, fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and so on that contain natural probiotics and a wide variety of fiber sources eaten daily. Third, workout intensity is something they plan carefully for. Regular movement is important, but elders should avoid doing intense workouts because it might worsen inflammation. The typical superager exercises at a moderate level most days with brief intense intervals included once or twice a week. Finally, they regularly consume certain anti-inflammatory compounds such as omega-3 fatty acids, 2 to 3 grams per day from fatty fish or supplements, curcumin, turmeric, and polyphenol-rich foods such as various berries, green tea, and extra virgin olive oil. Researchers at the University of California found that inflammatory markers can rise by up to 29% in as little as 12 weeks due to age-related changes in gut bacteria. A simple blood test that measures high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, or hsCRP, can help you track inflammation. Unlike the typical senior who has levels 3 to 5 times higher, superagers usually keep them below 1.0 milligrams per liter. Principle 3. Taking a specific vitamin daily. While most dietary advice focuses on macronutrients such as protein, carbohydrates, and fats, superagers who have exceptional muscular strength pay close attention to specific micronutrients that support protein synthesis and muscle function. For your body to make the most of the protein you eat and the benefits of exercise, these essential nutrients act as facilitators. If you lack them, no amount of protein or exercise will stop you from losing muscle mass. University of Vermont researchers have called magnesium the forgotten electrolyte for muscle health. So it naturally takes first place. This mineral is vital for more than 300 enzymatic reactions that are involved in muscle function, and more than 70% of the elderly population is deficient in it. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study in 2021 that showed seniors whose magnesium levels were adequate had 30% stronger grips and much better physical performance than those whose magnesium levels were even slightly low. In addition to supplementing with magnesium in highly absorbable forms like glycinate or threonate, superagers usually eat foods that are rich in magnesium daily, such as dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate. Creatine comes next. It's not just for beginner bodybuilders. Compared to strength training alone, creatine supplementation significantly improved older adults' muscle mass, strength, and cognitive function according to McMaster University research from 2015. Muscle energy production and water content in muscle cells can be improved with a daily intake of 3 to 5 grams, creating an anabolic environment. Next up is methylated B12, a B vitamin that doesn't get enough attention. Because stomach acid production declines with age, our body's ability to absorb B12 also declines. Even worse, proton pump inhibitors and metformin, two of the most commonly used medications, severely deplete this important vitamin. Both nerve function and the production of energy by muscles are affected by a deficiency. The active form of cobalamin, methylcobalamin, is usually supplemented by superagers instead of the cheaper cyanocobalamin that is found in most multivitamins. Mineral cofactors such as zinc, selenium, and chromium play an equally important role in facilitating protein synthesis and insulin sensitivity, qualities that are vital for the transport of nutrients to muscle tissue. Optimal levels of these trace minerals were linked with a 22% increase in muscle mass maintenance over a 5-year period according to a comprehensive study out of Tufts University. Micronutrient testing can help superagers identify their unique nutritional gaps so they can supplement appropriately rather than relying on a generic multivitamin. By customizing their treatment to their specific biochemical needs, they can save money by avoiding unnecessary treatments. Preserving your neuromuscular connections is habit number 2. Here's an interesting fact that most seniors don't know. When muscles atrophy, it affects more than just the individual fibers. Usually, the weakest link is the one that connects your muscles to your nervous system. Neuromuscular junctions are like the outlets that provide electricity to your muscles. When they begin to deteriorate, which happens at a much faster rate after 60, no amount of protein in your diet or exercise will help your brain communicate with your muscles. Exceptionally strong superagers, according to recent research out of the University of Michigan, have much better neuromuscular connections than the average senior. Even more exciting, researchers have found several behaviors that can preserve or even repair these important links. In the first method, you'll work on coordinating and precisely performing a series of planned movements. Research has shown that compared to regular strength training or even just walking, activities such as Tai Chi, dancing, tennis, or even ping pong can improve brain pathways to muscles to strengthen the neuromuscular connections. These exercises require your nervous system to recruit muscle fibers in specific patterns. Researchers in 2020 showed that compared to older adults who just exercised conventionally, those who participated in coordination-demanding activities twice weekly preserved neuromuscular connections 31% better. Chemicals that promote neuromuscular health are the focus of the second method. Evidence suggests that alpha-lipoic acid and acetyl-L-carnitine can prevent oxidative damage to the nerve-muscle connection. The fact that some B1 forms like benfotiamine and huperzine found in Chinese club moss can increase the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, the main one responsible for muscle activation, is even more encouraging. Some of the breathing techniques used by superagers stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps in the regulation of neuromuscular transmission. In as little as 5 minutes a day, you can increase neural activation of muscles by up to 15% by practicing simple breathing techniques like box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Perhaps the most interesting is the connection between mental activity and the maintenance of neuromuscular connections. Columbia University conducted a landmark study that showed older adults' muscle function was much better preserved when they regularly participated in challenging cognitive activities. Since the neuromuscular system and the brain share many neural pathways, the researchers found that brain training had a direct positive effect on the neuromuscular system. Using these neuromuscular preservation techniques, superagers can keep their brain connection strong well into their 80s and beyond, allowing them to recruit muscle fibers effectively. First habit, resistance exercise that progresses over time. The most important habit that separates exceptionally strong 80-year-olds from their peers is the one that experts at Tufts University called the most powerful anti-aging drug ever discovered. We have reached this habit. Resistance training that builds upon itself, but not in the way that most seniors do it. By using targeted resistance training programs, the superagers whose strength levels contradict their chronological age fight the biological processes of muscle atrophy. Most elders never learn this basic truth. Your muscles operate according to the use it or lose it principle, with one crucial exception. To maintain them, you must progressively challenge them. Sticking with the same light weights week after week, going for a walk or doing water aerobics won't be enough to maintain muscle mass after the age of 60. How's the approach used by superagers different? First, the focus is on intensity, not duration. 2 weeks of high-intensity resistance training to the point of failure resulted in greater muscle gain for seniors compared to 5 weeks of moderate-intensity exercise, according to research out of McMaster University. The most important thing is to reach the point where you can't do another repetition with proper form, what exercise physiologists call transient muscle failure. This triggers protein synthesis in the muscles for up to 72 hours after exercise by sending strong anabolic signals. Second, superagers focus on compound movements which use multiple muscle groups at once. Their mobility and joint health should be considered while designing modified versions of squats, deadlifts, rows, pushes, and pulls. Compared to isolated movements like bicep curls or leg extensions, these exercises produce a stronger hormonal response. Third, they use progressive overload, which means gradually increasing the level of difficulty over time. Using the same weights month after month causes stagnation because your muscles adapt to whatever stress you place on them. People who are superagers track their workouts and challenge themselves to do a little bit more each time. As a fourth point, they focus on the eccentric or lowering phases of exercises which are known to be helpful for strengthening the muscles of the elderly. Lowering the weight slowly places more stress on the muscles without placing as much stress on the joints. Amazingly, this approach works even for people who are starting late. Older adults who began a 12-week program of progressive resistance training improved their strength by 35% and added an average of 3.3 pounds of muscle, according to a revolutionary study out of the University of Alabama. Along with these amazing changes, there were also improvements in cognitive function, bone density, and blood glucose control. What then is the most common mistake that seniors make? The issue is that many think resistance exercise is too dangerous or inappropriate for them. The real danger lies in the fact that resistance training is necessary to prevent further muscle loss, which in turn increases the risk of frailty, falls, and independence problems. Get into the habit of progressive resistance training if you only do one thing from this video. If you want to make sure you're doing everything correctly, consult a trainer first. Then build up to the intensity that's appropriate for your fitness level. Getting just 2 30-minute sessions per week can have a profound impact on how fast you age. Here they are, the 7 research-supported practices that account for the remarkable muscle strength that some 80-year-olds maintain. Choose a habit that you can easily start today and gradually add the others. Putting effort today into building your strength and independence will pay off in the long run. It is time for you to speak up. Are you currently doing any of these 7 habits? If so, which one surprised you? Is there an elderly person in your life that has remarkable strength for their age? Leave a comment below and tell us about yourself and your thoughts. Please share them with us. Thank you for your time.